of folks simply don't know what to do. All they see is, hey, whenever I look over at my kid, they're sort of hypnotized by the iPad. I'm not really sure what's going on. You're a parent, especially if you're working, you don't have a lot of energy or time to spend to try to pull them away from it. So if you were in that position or you were talking to a parent who was in that position of like, I don't even know what to do to start. I'm nervous that something bad is happening, but I don't know for sure. What would you recommend they do or think about as a first step?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a really great question. I think, the the famous therapist answer is it depends, right? It depends on the work, more about what they have available to them. Are there resources that they haven't been tapping into? I think so often as parents, there is help around us. And so often we either don't ask for it or even openly reject it because we want to do it ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would immediately ask for other resources. It sounds like this parent is at their max, and so many of us, myself included, can relate to that. Well, if you're at your max and you don't have the bandwidth to be able to, tackle any type of parenting transition, like potty training, I'm thinking like any type of parenting transition, well, we need to decrease what's on your plate. How can we either decrease what's on your plate by asking for help and outsourcing, or can we decrease what you've been putting on your plate? Like, just don't put it on your plate to begin with, right? So I think boundaries for parents are incredibly important. And I know I'm speaking from a place of privilege where I have family around me. I literally moved back to my hometown to have family around me to help me. But I think that there are creative solutions that we can get to, because if the parent, it sounds like to me, I'd more work on the parent burnout right now. Until they have the bandwidth to be able to tackle a change in their household. Because so often technology becomes like a fifth member of the family, right? And so if we are changing a pretty big dynamic or a common habit or a social norm in the family, then we need to be prepared, just like you would prepare for potty training, and you'd, get ready and read some books and clear your weekend. Well, maybe the same can be said for changing the role of technology in the management of our daily house.
That's really interesting. That this is something that's come up in a few conversations. You mentioned the fifth member of the house. I've heard this sort of again and again. It almost feels like there is that person in your home, and it could be worst case, it's a stranger who's telling your kids that are contradicting what you're saying.
Yeah.
Or it could be someone who's really helpful and they're on the same page and they get the norms and everything else. And so what I'm hearing you say is that first step is just making sure that you have kind of the activation energy and you have sufficient resources to even take stock of what's going on. How was, a lot of people have different resources, but how would you, like, can you do an audit to see what you have available that you're not using? I guess, like, how would you think about that?
Now you're tapping into the executive coach in me. I love the urgent important matrix, or the Eisenhower Matrix, where you rank. I literally a couple times a year carry this. It's 4 quadrants, and you rank all your tasks on the y-axis and the x-axis. One of which is how important is it versus not important is it, and the other is how urgent or time sensitive versus not time sensitive. And if you carry around this, if you Google it, you can find it easy. If you carry around these quadrants and literally put down every daily task into the matrix, you have a better sense of what you can get off your plate, what you can outsource, what you really should be focusing on over other things. Instead of having a 20-item to-do list where everything feels like it's the same weight. It is not. So that's how I personally take inventory.
MBA to MBA. Yeah. Wouldn't be a discussion if we didn't bring up a 2x2.
Absolutely.
I think that's a great piece of advice. Very simple, sort of take stock of what's going on, the urgent and important stuff. But the key there is that with the stuff that's not urgent, but it is important, that's something that you schedule time for. Yeah.
And that's where you should be spending most of your time, with planned out tasks. If you find everything falling on, oh my God, I got to get it done, it's due in an hour, or my kid's game is tonight, then you need to be coming up with systems. Systems are also a really big help in households. Systems like almost, standard operating procedures of when you get things done or how you get things done can be helpful so that everyone's on the same page.